Okay, let's cut straight to the chase. Matt Law, the journalist, is suggesting that Declan Rice wouldn't accept a third offer if it were made. There's a certain significance to this because Matt was one of the journalists from the outset who suggested that Declan had turned down 2 offers from West Ham. We since had that confirmed, and we know it to be true. So you have to look at this last comment with a certain amount of validity. You have to say, well, hold on a second, this guy appears to be in the know, given the West Ham and given the Declan Rice situation. Now, when you look at these, there's either one or two things happening. Either he's being briefed by West Ham or he's being briefed by Declan Rice. But bearing in mind his comment is, West Ham would have to seriously think about any bid that came in over 60 million because of the situation. Declan Rice would reject a third contract offer from West Ham should one be made. Just listen to that again. Declan Rice would reject a third contract offer from West Ham should it be made. It's quite clear where he's getting briefed from. So he's getting briefed from the Declan Rice side. Okay? I don't like what he's then gone on and said afterwards because he's getting involved in a game of brinksmanship, which I don't think he's really got any business doing, but I'll deal with that in just a second. In terms of the Declan Rice thing, I mean, this is a real shame because I think next season at West Ham, I think Declan Rice would go up another level. I think he'd be sensational. I think he'd be almost man of the match every game, or at least either getting it or close to it. I think we'd be looking at one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Look, I think he's that anyway, but I just believe, particularly if you look at how wonderfully he finished his last goal, I think you'd really be looking at a dynamic midfielder, becoming a little bit more box to box as well. Just such a talent, such a wonderful talent. And you know what? As a West Ham fan, it hurts. There's no doubt about it. It hurts that he wants to leave. And, you know, I think he does, doesn't he? And it's gutting. It really is. It is a shame because he's such a nice lad and he's sort of bought into where, even though he's not a West Ham guy originally, he's from Chelsea. We got him from Chelsea Academy. Family of Chelsea fans, apparently. But for the time he was here, he really bought into it. He invested in it, and I don't think he's doing a pie out here, by the way. And I don't claim that all the kissing and the badge and all the rest of it was false. I think he is fond of West Ham, but I've said this before. I also think he's fond of Ireland, but he will still make the right decision for his career. I think there's a big trick being missed here, by the way. And okay, so here's what I think is going on. There's a little bit of there's a game of chess going on here at the moment. So Declan Rice is letting it be known that he wants to leave. Now, this is now happening in the media. Don't get me wrong. I believe that Declan Rice has let West Ham know. And when I say West Ham, I mean David Sullivan, that he wants to leave. I believe that's happened. So why this is now playing out in the media, I don't know. I can only assume that he's been told no. So what he's trying to do now, I think, is by leaking this stuff to the reporters, is almost try and create a situation whereby he'll not quite forces a move, because I don't think he's that type of guy. I really don't. However, we're in a funny situation here. Now, the thing, what it discounts, what worries me about this situation is, I would imagine that we've got to create this dynamic again because we don't know. We're not flies on the wall. Declan Rice, make it really simple. Declan Rice turns around to David Sullivan and says, David Sullivan want to leave. David Sullivan then speaks to David Moyes. Now, David Moyes, I'm sure when he signed a new contract, there would have been a couple of stipulations. I know we're all worried we haven't signed anyone yet. And I'm not saying David Moyes is being given 100 million, 150 million. But David Moyes will have some money to spend, right? So there'll probably be a couple of stipulations. One of them might be, well, I need this amount of money to spend. And the other one was, I want to keep Declan Rice. So that's his contract. You remember, if you remember, Alan Kirbishley walked out because players were sold from underneath him. It can happen. Or was it a constructive dismissal or something like that? I can't remember the exact details, but Moyes' stock is high. So David Sullivan's not going to treat Moyes really, really badly and go back on whatever he said. So I'd imagine David Moyes was told by David Sullivan, Declan wants to leave. And let's just imagine for a moment David Moyes said, no, I don't want him to. I want him to stay. Well, as far as David Moyes is concerned, that's the end of the conversation, right? David Sullivan turns around and says no. Now, we have this price for him, which is 100 million. Whether it's true, whether it's not, I don't know. Could that be haggled down to 90, 95? Yes, I believe it probably could. However, the situation we have now is, and this is something that is annoying me here, and this is what Matt Laws said. West Ham would have to think seriously about any bid that came in over 60 million because of the situation. Well, hold on a second here, because what is definitely happening is we are now finding external pressure to try and drive Declan Rice's prices down. You can't do it. I'm really surprised Matt is getting involved in this here, because this is the third time we've heard this, which is basically saying it's the player or his representatives or the team around him almost dictating his own price and his own value. You can't do that. Not in a commercial sense. You just can't. Now, I understand that they probably think, well, you know what? You paid nothing. Well, I've actually heard these words. Paid nothing for him. So 60 million is a good price, right? Well, no, actually, it's not a good price, because that's a commodity, and that's just the way it's worked out. And to be fair, Declan was, I don't know the exact situation. Maybe he was going to be left on the scrap heap by Chelsea. Chelsea didn't want him. So actually, it was West Ham that took the gamble. And this is part of having the academy. And I know for a fact the academy costs between 4 and 5 million a year to run. 60 million, you know, I mean, come on. Unless we did well out of Dean Garner, no doubt about it whatsoever. But we have the right to demand whatever we want to from a player, for a player. Declan Rice has the right to sign or not sign a contract. That's his right. But we have a commercial right as well to this. And I really don't like what is clearly happening is external forces trying to drive Declan Rice's price down so Chelsea can afford him, or so Chelsea can buy him. Now, here's what I think will happen. I think a deal will be made. It's a negotiation. It's a public, messy, horrible negotiation, which actually doesn't do an awful lot. It's not good for the fans. It doesn't do an awful lot for the reputation between the player and the fans, which is an excellent reputation. It just doesn't need to be done like this. And I wonder how much instruction Matt is at here. But bearing in mind, we've heard it, and we've heard it from numerous sources now. There does seem to be a concerted effort to make Declan Rice's price 60 million. Personally, I think you might well find that we get 60 million and Tammy Abraham or something like that, 60 million Ross Barkley. I think we may well get 80. Basically, the value of Declan Rice may well be 80 million or something like that. That's just what I think's happened. This is a negotiation, but I don't think it's a particularly pretty one, quite frankly. And but the interesting dynamic is, and this is what I think's been missed, is the role of David Moyes in this. So just follow me on this one, if you will. By playing this out publicly, what it's doing is it's very publicly reiterating to the owner, you have to sell us, you have to sell him, whatever, because he's not going to sign a new deal. And you're in a situation. Well, we're not in a situation because he still has 3 years left on his deal. Jesse Lingard's in a situation. Man United are in a situation with Jesse Lingard. That much is true. There's a few other players here that are scattered around the Premier League are in a similar situation. Declan Rice is not one of them. 3 years a long, long time. In fact, I would suggest Declan Rice at West Ham for 3 years in terms of prize money is worth keeping in that sense. Now, don't get me wrong. So they have to make it financially and commercially acceptable to say, okay, we're going to take this player away from you. Yes, you're going to have a lesser team. You're going to lose some money here, but this is going to offset that. This is going to compensate it. And you have to be able to improve the team. And at 60 million, West Ham just don't improve the team. Just don't improve the team at all. We really, really don't. Everyone will see us coming. Let's say Basuma from Brighton. Not that I think Brighton would sell, but Basuma they would charge 50 million for. We've not really improved the team. We've got a lesser player. Basuma's not as good as Declan Rice. We've got a lesser player and 10 million. What can you get for 10 million? Well, I can get quite a lot. But what can a football club get for 10 million? Not an awful lot. But it ignores... It's this massive play and this massive public declaration of panic at West Ham. This is what this is doing. It's trying to create panic at West Ham so we sell him low. It takes David Moyes out of the equation. Because David Moyes ain't going to play these games. And it's almost, I think, to a certain extent, futile. Because David Sullivan can't phone up David Moyes all the time and say, oh, Declan Rice is not going to sign. And David Moyes just said, well, we discussed this 2 weeks ago. It's a no. And by the way, I think David Moyes is more than capable of just saying that. This is a resolute man. This is somebody who's not going to change his mind easily. We know this. A man that takes a long time to make a decision, and who everything has to be right. So this media circus that's happening now, which look, I'm fully aware that I'm playing into by doing this video, but this media circus, it takes David Moyes out of the equation. It doesn't matter how much you pontificate. It doesn't matter how much you try and make it uncomfortable for David Sullivan. These stories, by the way, as I'm saying, these stories start to. I don't think you're there yet, because I think there's a lot of goodwill towards Declan. I mean, because he's lovely, but it will. The more this goes on, and the more it looks like Declan and his team are trying to force West Ham's price down and force West Ham into a bad position, it starts to create a divide. And the more you do this, the worse it becomes. I just think it's a really... Do you know what it is? It just lacks a little bit of wisdom on this one, really. And I don't know. Look, maybe, just maybe, David Moyes is resigned to losing Declan Rice. I can't think he is. I just don't... I don't know the man, never met the man. But from what I see about him publicly, I don't think he would do. And I can only go on what I've seen publicly and how I've seen him and his reluctance to sell players at Everton. So that's the evidence that I got, and he ain't a great one for it. Again, I've got to look at the evidence of Declan. I've got some evidence. I've seen what's happened with Ireland. So I'm just trying to, maybe I'm putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5 here, but I don't think it's a particularly good situation. 60 million? No. No, and I'm really annoyed. I'm really annoyed that there is this... I don't want to sell him. I want him to stay. I know we can't keep him forever. I thought another season at West Ham, I thought it was good. Declan Rice was one of the England's best players. I thought that in the final. I thought he was excellent in that final, by the way. I thought he was really good in the semi-final as well. Is he a player that probably deserves to be playing Champions League level? Yeah, I'd imagine so. But you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, this guy is better than Europa League level. Oh, but he's only worth 60 million. Well, no. If that's what we're saying, if what you're saying is you're one of the best players in the Premier League, one of the best players at the European Championships, well, then you ain't 60 million. That's just not it. If what you're then trying to say is, oh, you're 60 million because it's 3 years on a contract. No, it's not 6 months. It's 3 years. What you're saying is, and this is what we keep getting repeated, I've turned down this contract, I've turned down that contract. I don't particularly blame him for leaking the contract, by the way, because West Ham have leaked details of Declan Rice's contract before, so I don't particularly blame that, but it's this... Because the club have played this game. Initially with his contract, they kept on saying, look, they did the same with Ngakia as well, kept on leaking, look, we've made offers. And I believe that they made offers, don't get me wrong. But this is being played out a little bit differently now. Now we're getting a little posse, let's say, a little gang. I think, clearly Matt Law is part of this as well, where, they're coming in and they're saying, he's coming into bat for Team Declan here and I won't mind that. I don't mind if Declan Rice wants to leave. What is annoying me is the driving his price down, because that disadvantages West Ham massively. Personally, I don't think we've got a lot of money to spend in this window. I really don't. I wouldn't be surprised if we had... I'd like to think it's 60 million. It's probably not. We've probably got 30 million to spend in this window or something like that. Maybe they're with, what's his name, Felipe Anderson going and stuff like that. It bumps it up a little bit. But not a lot. Not a lot. So I think that allows us to buy really one excellent player. If Declan Rice leaves and then his money allows us to buy another excellent player, well, that doesn't matter because we've just lost one. Realistically, and I think looking at it in purely monetary terms is no good. Actually, what needs to happen is, for the sale of Declan Rice, we need to be able to buy, if Declan goes, we need to be able to bring in 2 excellent players. And I mean that. Declan Rice goes for 100 million. We're able to bring in two £50 million players. Don't get me wrong, I don't think West Ham would spend money like that, but you know what I mean. There's just no advantage to the 60 million here. And I think I've probably made my point enough in this video already. I'm really annoyed at external forces trying to drive down the price of Declan Rice to the detriment of West Ham, but to the benefit of Chelsea. And I will make this point now. This is not Matt Law writing in the Telegraph. This is Matt Law speaking on a Chelsea podcast. I'll say the words again. West Ham would have to have a serious think about any bid that came in over 60 million because of the situation. What? I don't get that. West Ham would have to think. Why would West Ham have to think? Why is he telling our owners what to accept and what to think seriously about? And what is the situation? I mean, he is making it sound very dramatic. He is making it sound like Payet, almost worse than Payet. He's making it sound, oh, they better accept it because of the situation. He's making it sound like he's got 6 months left on his contract and he's not turning up for training. That's how he's making it sound. That's how dramatic it is. Naughty, actually. I find that a little bit naughty. Clearly, I've been talking for 16 minutes about it. Not happy.